the Amtrak disaster that happened, and we suffered great loss in the passing of some Jewish people during the tragedy. And one of the people that passed away was a truly sparkling young Jewish man by the name of Justin Zemser. And his Jewish name is Ephraim Yaakov ben Chaim Shmuel. And Justin was an example of Kiddush Hashem incarnate. He was a midshipman in the Naval Academy, 3rd class, and he really, I wanted to learn about him because I knew we would be talking about him tonight. So I looked him up, and I heard the Vice Admiral speak about him in the Naval Academy, and he called him a young man of character and consequence, and he also said about him that he was a young man of great religious beliefs. And that was heard all over the world. So, you know, the objective of Minikdashti B'Soich B'nai Yisrael, that we are put on this world to make a Kiddush Hashem, Shetehei Shem Shemayim Misahev Al Yodecha, that Hashem should be loved through you, was very fulfilled through Justin. Now you'll say, so, but what's the connection to Oorah? Well, unbelievably, young Justin, young Ephraim Yaakov was a Torah mate. And Rabbi Beer will tell us about that.
Okay, I guess you could say it all started about 7 years ago. 7 years ago, Howard Zemser contacted us. He wanted to learn how to read Hebrew. So we got him a Torah mate. Howard's a very friendly person if you know him, and he kept calling me with all types of questions, and we had very nice discussions and conversations, and many of our conversations invariably led to talking about his son, Justin Zemser. Justin, he would tell me, was a superstar athlete. He was a brilliant student. He was a community-minded person, and simply the apple of his father's eye. Shortly after I got introduced to him, Justin had a bar mitzvah. So this was 7 years ago. Justin was like about 12. He had a bar mitzvah. And Howard told me how he read from the Torah so beautifully. And he was so excited to be part of a minyan. Again, that Jewish feeling even from way back then. After 2 years of learning with Howard, I decided to pop the million-dollar question. How would he like to take a Torah mate? So Howard asked him. The problem was that Justin was the captain of his football team. He was the captain of the chess team, captain of the debate team, and there was no time. With all those extracurricular activities, it was very difficult to fit anything in at the time. But I didn't give up. And year after year, I would ask him, would Justin like to learn? There was even a time when, for just certain reasons, we were thinking of not even continuing with the whole partnership, but the fact that Howard was so interested in learning himself, and that Justin one day maybe would become a Torah mate, I said, we got to do whatever we can to keep this thing going. 2 years ago, Justin fulfilled his lifelong dream to go to the Naval Academy of Annapolis. His dream was to become a Navy SEAL. As a little kid, he wanted to become a Navy SEAL, which all those who know is one of the most elite military positions that one could ever achieve. I believe the ones who captured or actually killed Osama bin Laden were Navy SEALs.
And he was on his way to becoming one.
And the admiral, actually, I talked to certain, I'll talk in a second, a little bit later, but I actually talked to some military people there, and they really believed that he was an excellent candidate. If anybody was going to make it, it's going to be Justin. So he actually got into the academy, which again, that alone is very difficult. To get into this academy, you have to be a brilliant young man, and you also have to be a big athlete and moral. You have to show yourself as a moral person. He got in. So he fulfilled his dream, but I sort of thought that my dream was gone. Because after all, when you're in the military academy, the schedule is so rigorous. There's no time for anything. I have a schedule here, and I was reading through it. It's incredible, like how one thing comes right after another. But in any case, I asked Justin, I said, Justin, I called him, but I said, I know you're in a military academy, and I know you're very busy, but maybe you'd like to learn. Justin said, give me a few days. He got back to us, but he said, I can't do it. This was 2 years ago. 7 months ago, Justin called. Justin called back. And Justin told me, Rabbi Berry said, I'm ready. I want to learn Chumash. I want to learn what the Torah means. I want to learn about the parasha. I want to learn about the Torah portion. Please get me a study partner. And that's when I got Reb Tzvi Rubenfeld over here, sitting right here. This is Justin Alav Shalom's Chavrusa right here. And Baruch Hashem, they learned for the past 6-7 months they learned very beautifully. As always, I check up with the study partners after that they're learning. And Justin told me how excited he was this opportunity for the first time in his life to learn Torah. It was just an incredible experience for him that he was able to reach this milestone in his life. The other thing I just wanted to mention was, Justin, as we know, was a superstar athlete. He was on his football team in the Navy. He was one of the stars. He was a superstar student. There were tremendous prospects for him to become an admiral and all that. And I was amazed that when I talked to him, he was such a humble human being. It was incredible that a person of such talent would act so humble.
You know what, Rabbi Beer, I found when the naval admiral spoke about him, he said that he was a man of religious convictions. So you made a mark on him. I mean, there's no question about it.
I'd love to hear from his Torah mate, but I also did hear that by the Levaya, they actually mentioned that he was a Torah mate. So I think we should hear from Tzviki, the Torah mate, and just his experience with him and things like that. Go ahead.
Well, when you had called me up originally, I had actually turned you down. I said my schedule was busy. I was nervous. His resume was so impressive, but you persisted, Rabbi Beer, and we had, like you said, 7 months. We learned every other week, depending on the schedule, sometimes a little less. He was interested in learning. He wasn't asking so many questions. He was writing every word down. He was just soaking everything in, and every time we learned, he was getting a greater appreciation. Just the nicest, kindest person that you can ever come in contact with.
Tzviki, did he talk to you about his involvement in the club, in the midshipman club?
Well, he was made vice president a few months into. It was a service that he was actually attending. Friday nights and Tuesday nights, and he was very proud of it. He actually he took a trip to Israel this past winter, which we heard by the Levaya. He described as life-changing, life-altering, and he said that he was definitely gonna go back there. We met an uncle of his who lived in Eretz Yisrael, who was a manal in Bechon Meir, who was just, describing how, what a beautiful experience he had there in Eretz Yisrael, and it was really just a chavrusa that had a lot of promise. And
when you accepted to be a Torah mate, did you ever think it would become an international event?
No, not at all.
I think that's a great lesson for everybody that's listening out there. You might think, Torah mate, I don't have time. Here, Tzviki sent this young man, Justin, to the Olam HaEmes with 7 months of Torah. I mean, you gave him nitzchias. And that's a tremendous lesson for everybody. You'll say, is my hour a week going to make a difference? Call 1-877-TORAH-123. That's the first step to becoming a Torah mate. 1-877-TORAH-123. Maybe you want to do it for Ephraim Yaakov ben Chaim Shmuel. His neshama should have an aliyah. Maybe you want to do it in honor of Tzviki, who did this himself and really made a difference. And of course, Torah Mates is just one of the many multiple projects of Oorah that make a difference in young people's lives, just like Justin. And therefore, maybe you want to give a donation tonight in loving memory of Ephraim Yaakov ben Chaim Shmuel, who made such a Kiddush Hashem. You can do so by calling 1-877-7-auction, or you could do it online at oorah.org.
Can I say one thing? I say one thing.
Rabbi Pierre.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to talk about one thing. Me and Rav Tzviki and also Rav Elvel Salel, who happens to be Howard's Charusa, we had the opportunity to go to the Levaya. We went to the Levaya, to the funeral on this past Friday. It was an absolutely incredible experience. The place was full of military men, hundreds of military people from the academy itself, with all their crisp, sailor outfits and Navy outfits. And there were people there, hundreds of people there from all aspects of life, all races, all religions. And one speaker got up and said, I thought it was an incredible thing. He gets up and he says, look around, look at this chapel. There's people here from all religions, all races. And all of us, why are we here? And he said, the reason why we're here is because this young man, Justin Zemser, Justin was a super athlete, super talented. He could have been so involved in himself, but yet he cared for all of us. He loved us and we loved him. And at that time I looked at a big naval officer, and naval officers are trained in discipline, not to show any emotion. And he broke down sobbing, and the entire place was sobbing. It was an incredible moment, an incredible kiss Hashem.
Rabbi Beer, we could...